Hey girl, hey, this is Jade, Chante. Thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel. Today I will be talking about my pregnancy story. So if you guys want to find out more about that, please stay tuned.
Get away, palm trees, beach views, ordinary day. All I wanna hear is the visions I replay. Sit right next to you. I try not to show how I feel about you. You wish you way, but we don't really want to. I just wanna get away. Sit right next to you.
All right, guys. So let's get started. So my pregnancy journey. I just wanted to share this with you guys, being that after I had my baby, I realized that more people have been through this than what I thought. I was always the type of person who did not open up, did not share things. I didn't have the best experience at all in regards to my pregnancy. So let's start from the beginning. I'm originally from New Orleans, but I wound up moving to Houston, Texas. When I went to Texas, I had plans on just, living my life like it was golden. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was going to work 2 jobs. One of them was going to be at a bartender at a certain bar that I originally got. I got my license when I was back in Louisiana to bartend. And after I got my license, I wind up finding a bar that was, that hired me. Unfortunately, I wind up going to Texas around like a week before Hurricane Harvey. So the club that originally hired me wind up, being destroyed. So I wind up, the plans that I originally had when going to Houston changed. So I wind up, talking to a few people, and I just realized that the same people who were out there were the same people who were back in New Orleans. Wasn't shit. So I just kept talking to people who I was already talking to. One in particular actually moved to Houston with me. He didn't go, we didn't go together, but he wound up going around the same time that I did. Because he was a familiar face, we started to become cool and, go on more dates than what we did previously. And and because we started to spend so much time together, I believe that was February of 2018, we were just like, why not? Let's start going together. So when we went together, of course, we both at the time were living our lives like it was golden. We were not using protection. I was not on birth control. And we were not taking any precautions. Sometimes, because right now I'm 27. So before I had my son, I was of course 26. And sometimes when you, like, let's say if you never got pregnant before, sometimes you think that it just cannot happen to you. So you don't take it as seriously as you should. And that's what happened to me. We were not taking it serious at all. Now, when I found out that I got pregnant, it was 2 days after my period was supposed to come. Just 2 days. He actually told me to go take a test. When I took a test, I didn't even take it serious because I actually went to like the dollar store and got like one of those dollar tests. But the strip turned with 2 lines in a matter of 0.25 seconds. So I was like, I remember sitting on the toilet and I told him to come in and I was like, oh shit, I'm pregnant. And he was like, what? I said, I'm pregnant. And he was like, no, take another one. So I took another one. That one turned 2 lines too. And then I was like, oh no, I have to go get like an actual test. So I went and got the clear blue that actually has the word pregnant. And that's exactly what I got. Pregnant. So it was real. When that situation happened, he asked me, so what you gonna do? I was like, I don't know. What you think I should do? And he was like, do what you want. So before I had a kid, now let me tell y'all something about abortion. I am not an advocate for abortion, but in certain circumstances, there's situations that happen to where you consider it. And before I got in that particular situation, I always did consider it if it wound up being a bad situation. But my situation was not a bad one. I was 26. I had my own place, had my own car, paying my own bills. And I thought to myself, if I kill my child, then what if God doesn't give me the opportunity to have another one? You know what I'm saying? So I chose to keep it. I honestly, at that point, didn't care what he thought. I chose to keep my child. And I wound up calling my parents and telling my parents automatically that I was pregnant, because me and my parents never had a relationship where I was able to tell them what was on my mind. So because I told my parents, and of course at that moment, since we were both living in Houston and my parents were in New Orleans, he didn't get a chance to meet them. So when I had told my parents that I was pregnant, he instantly hated my guts. Why? Because I made the situation permanent. I never knew, especially because at that point we were going out for about a year. I never really realized that he didn't want me to have a child until I actually got pregnant. Does that make sense? So when I got pregnant, when you get pregnant, ladies, you definitely start seeing the guy who you're with or whoever's true colors. Okay? You start seeing their true colors. And his true color was that, look, I don't want nothing to do with this baby. I didn't want you to be pregnant. And since you made the situation permanent by telling your parents, I'm going to treat you like shit. So that's exactly what happened. For about 3 months when I stayed in Houston, he was treating me like pure shit. Okay? Everything that we originally discussed, the boundaries that I had, certain things that I would not tolerate disrespect-wise, he did. Whether it was cursing me out, whether it was, the cheating, all that, in front of my face. Why? Because he knew that Jade was not going anywhere. I let him take control of me because I came from a situation, or my childhood, I had a mother and a father. And I wanted the same for my child, a mother and a father. I remember the day where my sister actually came over and she was saying, do you guys want this child? If you do, stay here. If you don't want this child, talking to my son's father, if you don't want this child, then, make a decision. So originally I was going to stay in Houston when I had my son, if my son's father was going to be supportive. Unfortunately, he was not. So about 3 months after I got pregnant, I chose to move back home. Now, when I moved back home, I never had any plans on staying with my parents. I stayed with my parents for a month, got my monies together, got my own place, and was still working. Okay. At that point, because we were already living together, I just knew that my son's dad, we were going to be together. I just knew we were going to be together. We had like a little kinks to work out. But for the most part, I thought we were going to live together, raise this child the right way, especially because he had one before this child. I thought that he just wanted to do it the right way this time. Sorry, that's not what happened. Actually, 3 months in, he ghosted me. Okay? He ghosted me till I was about 7 months pregnant. Through that time, I was going through depression. A lot of people talk about depression postpartum, but they don't talk about depression when you're actually pregnant. My hormones was going crazy. I didn't really have a desire to be pregnant at all, because nobody made it feel like it was a happy thing. You know what I'm saying? My parents were fussing at me. People around me just couldn't believe what happened. And not only that, but because I was a secretive person, I had control of a situation. But by me being pregnant, it was a situation that I couldn't control anymore. And it started to become really uncomfortable for me. I barely took pictures. I don't have any pictures of me showing progression, with my belly. I stayed away from people. I was very secluded. I didn't feel pretty. Because I was being belittled, you know what I'm saying? I didn't feel good, but I knew that I had a responsibility to attend to. I would cry for no reason. I would just hate when people even just said that I was pregnant. I would try certain things, not to kill my child or anything, but I was just heavily depressed. Heavily depressed. When I was about 5 months pregnant, that's when I found out that what the gender was. When I found out what the gender was, that was the day that made it real for me, because a little bit after, I would say maybe 15 minutes after, because I invited my best friend to come with me to find out the gender. When I found out the gender, they had another lady who came in the room, and she told me, because at first we were happy because I always wanted a boy. When the other lady came in the room, it worried me because they started to look very serious, and it made my heart start jumping, like, what's going on? At the time, guys, I didn't have all of my blood tests done. Okay, so because of that, there's about three, I believe there's 3 tests that they do. They do the blood work to make sure that you don't have any diseases. Then they do the one for the chromosome, and I believe the last one is the glucose. So the chromosome one was the one that I did not have yet. I didn't take that test yet. So because I didn't take that test, the doctor has to tell me what is, going to be the case if anything negative happens. When she came in the room, she basically told me she saw on the ultrasound that a white speck in my son's heart, which can possibly mean that he can have heart disease or he can have Down syndrome. Child, when she told me that, my heart dropped. I'm like, Lord, I'm stressing out over situations in this man who don't want nothing to do with me, and now you're telling me that it's a possibility that my child might have Down syndrome? Oh my God. I had to really talk to God, because it was just like, why am I stressing out over these situations that I'm stressing out about is now affecting my child? So it's time for me to get my life together. So I still had moments when I was depressed. Like, I remember there was a time where my friend, she had a birthday party, and that was the first time I wound up really going out. And that was the first time that people really saw me pregnant. So people was addressing that I was pregnant. Oh, she can't have a drink because she pregnant, sir. Stuff like that, and touching my belly. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When I went back in my car, I broke down. I couldn't. It was so much anxiety that I was having now that I'm out and about. And I honestly don't know why. I was just really depressed, and I was trying to put on a facade because I didn't want people to know how depressed I was. But like I said, all you had to do was say that I was pregnant and I was crying. Like, I was miserable. Okay. And I think the real reason why I was miserable was because I always had an image in my head. I felt like I played my cards right. Why did I let somebody who don't want nothing to do with my child impregnate me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why, out of all the people in my past, why this person had to be my son's father? At that point, I tried to focus more on my son than the actual situation at hand. I started to get things together for him. I worked till I was 39 weeks. I worked till I was 39 weeks. I didn't ask his dad for nothing. The only thing I asked him for was to be a dad. You know, I was in it by myself. I made up in my mind that this is my son, you know. But I cannot show a boy how to be a man. So I wanted him to at least know who his dad was. I wanted it to be up to his dad to be in his life. And I feel like that was the right thing for me to do. I think that when my son gets older, he will definitely see that it was the right thing to do. But I just wanted to share this story with you guys because, ladies, stop beating yourself up. Just because you envisioned that your life will be one way does not mean that your life cannot be great. Even though you probably had a child and you probably thought that you were going to be married or you're going to have a boyfriend or y'all were going to live this fairy tale life, if it did not happen like that, stop beating yourself up, sis. Stop beating yourself up because your life can still be great. Okay? I'm rooting for you. Do not let that defeat you. Don't get depressed over no nigga. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. You got this. Well, I just want to share like a little bit of that with you guys. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you want to see next. And I will definitely do that for you guys, okay? Bye. Peace.